That's bad.
Alright, today we're going to mess around with the Syclone a little bit. Golly, it's bright out, huh? One of the main issues is the trans brake isn't wired up. Yes, this thing has a trans brake, unnecessarily. So, reverse doesn't work. I got to get that wired up. I finally found the wiring schematic for it. And this gate is only for a 3-speed. This thing is full manual reverse valve body. So, first, second, third. So, a new gate is only $60, but they are back ordered until about the end of October, which is not ideal. So what I'm going to try to do today is pull this thing off, and we'll see if we can cut another slot in this for 4th gear. And then I've also got to fix the lever, because when you're down here trying to do it, it bumps into the buttons up here. It might... No, it doesn't do it in here, but you can see how it gets close. So once it's down there, it'll touch them. So nothing super exciting, but there's 3 clips and 2 screws holding it on, so we'll pull it off real quick and see if we can make it happen. Alright, got the gate off. Came off just as easy as it looked like it would. There was the 3 clips and then the 2 screws, and just pulled it right off. So now we're looking at the gate pattern, because that's what we're going to modify. Right here is park. You pull the lever down, put it in reverse. Obviously in our case we'll have to push the button. We can do that in reverse or in neutral, which is right here. Have to pull the lever down again to get around neutral. And then boom, right here's first. And you know, just cruising out, hanging out. Pull the lever down, pow. Second, it'll pop back up when you let go of the lever. Pull it into third, and that's where we're stopped. So what we're gonna have to do is cut another square out of right here. We don't want to cut this whole section out. We want a little notch here for the shifter to catch in, so that we have to pull the lever to get it to go into 4th. That way there's like a, you can just kind of grab it, pull, let go of the lever, pull into 3rd, grab the lever again, go into 4th. That's what we're after. So I'm going to measure the distance from this stop to that stop, and from this stop to that stop. Hopefully those are the same. If they are, that's the distance I'll go from here to the end. And we should be able to just cut like a square or rectangle out of this, clean it up, and hopefully it's good. Alright. Let me zero this thing out. Oops. Alright. Zero it out. We'll start with this back one. It is a touch over ½ an inch. Can you guys see that? 543. And then this one is 554. So they're both just barely over ½ an inch. So I think that'll work. Like I said, a new gate is $60, so I'm willing to take the gamble trying to modify it. So now all I'm going to do is make a mark coming off of this that comes back ½ an inch and up. I need to get an idea of a measurement for like that. So that'll be a little over ½ inch. So we can probably do like 300 thou. What's this one? Yeah, that one's a hair over ½ What's this? This is 350 thou. So yeah, we'll shoot for like 300 thou height and 5. We'll go a little bit at a time. We'll just go straight ½ inch back and see how that does. If it goes into 4th, no problem. And we'll try to kind of follow this arc. It's a pretty gentle arc, so I think we could get away with just going straight back, like to there. So I'm going to get that marked off and start cutting. there is our pattern that we're going to cut out. Just that little rectangle there. Kind of on an arch. Tried to follow. When I checked, this bottom angle stayed perfectly perpendicular, I suppose, to the top arch. So I just followed that around. Same height. It was right at 800 thou, which is perfect. And then I just shortened it to 520 thou for the top line, and then this back line is at 500 thou also. So hopefully that'll work. I'm gonna cut it out. Probably use a little Dremel with it. I don't think anything else I have would be precise enough. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna start cutting it. Alright, there's our pattern. I'm going to go try it in the Syclone, see if it works. Hopefully everything's nice and smooth and we got it first try. Alright, I got the gate in there, but now there's a new problem of this lever not pushing this thing down far enough. So, reverse, neutral, first, look. Like, it can't even really get down far enough to get to that. So, when I get here to go into fourth, I can probably round this edge here and make it work, which I think is what I'll try. So it's like first okay, hold on, let me try that again. First, yeah, it doesn't go down far enough to catch the stop. Yeah, so there's something going on with this, because I can't even force it down any further. So I think there's just something misaligned in this shifter, which I think is part of why the lever hits the buttons. Because I feel like this is about as close as it should ever get when you're pulling it in. But it can actually hit that top button, which is very, very no bueno. So I'm going to pull it back off, round it enough so that I can pull the lever and make it kind of plop down into fourth, which it's so close when you look at it like that. So I'm just going to round off like from there down. You know what I mean? because like it's up there. If I go about halfway and then round it, we should be able to get in there. But the height of the hole looks fine. Alright, I brought the truck in the garage because I was really starting to question my sanity. I got the shifter gate all modified, and I couldn't figure out what was stopping it from going into fourth gear. So I came up here, put it on the blocks, and I crawled under it, disconnected the cable, and took the lever and went through every gear to make sure that it went park, reverse, neutral, first, second, third, fourth. It did that just fine. So I was like, alright, so it's clearly something up here with the gate and the shifter. I was going to pull the gate off one more time, but I ended up pulling this lever off because it's easier to pull off than all these C-clips and the nuts, or the screws. And I manually pushed that lever all the way down, and it went all the way into fourth. So that made me think, alright, I just need to figure out how to get this thing to go down far enough. I'm not going to try wallowing this out anymore. That will just be a band-aid on the main issue. So I had the lever off, and I was looking at it, and I was like, it almost looks like someone bent it before. Like, I don't know if it went into a console or what, but the bottom here looks like it was starting to get thin from like being stretched out almost. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. So I put it in the vise, and I put a wrench on it, and I just bent it maybe 1/8 of an inch. And now, look, we do this, it stops at second, lift up, go into third, boom, all the way to fourth. It's a miracle. And it's not, I'm sure if we like really forced it, which actually that could be what happened, someone just really reefed on it. I'm sure if we really forced it, we could get it to push a button, but now everything's looking good. So now I'm going to hook the cable back up. We should be good to go. And then from there, I'll probably start wiring up the trans brake. I'm going off memory here. There was 3 wires that needed to be grounded. I want to say yellow, white, blue, perhaps. And then there was one that needed to go to switch 12 volt for the solenoid for the trans brake. And then there was one more that needed to go to switch to 12 volt for to lock up the converter. So really, the 3 wires for the ground, we can just splice those all together, kind of, and then run 1 wire over to the bolt for the speed sensor, and then the other 2 will run up here. So yeah, we'll probably put it on the second one, because this one, the shifter, this lever, can still, I'd hate to have him be going down the road and lock that shit up and put it in the ditch. So we'll put it on this one. And then the other one we'll just have a toggle switch. Yeah, there's a toggle switch right there we'll use for the converter. Man, it always feels good to make progress on something. Alright, so that says the green, yellow, and black wires will get grounded. Cool. Easy enough to do. Looking at the Holley harness, there's red and white, red, whatever the frick color these are, and then there's 2 greens and a bunch of other ones. Fun. So I started looking up wiring schematics for the Holley harness, and they changed all the colors. So the ones that I'm going to need now are this white and red, the white and black right there, and one of these 2 greens for, right? One of these 2 greens? I'm questioning myself now. Yeah, because before I needed the green, yellow, and black. Now I need, and the black was a sensor ground. And Holley is using one of these greens as a sensor ground. I don't know which one. I know that one of them goes to pin B3 and one of them goes to pin B14. B14 is a VSS ground, and pin B3 is something to do with line pressure, along with the white and red, which controls the 1-2 solenoid, and the black and white, which controls the 2-3 solenoid. And then I need to look up to see if it's still this red wire, which I don't think it is, that needs to go straight to a switch, and whatever the other one is. This says for the factory harness from GM, it would be green, yellow, black wires get grounded, and then red wire is switched for the trans brake, and the blue wire is switched for the converter lockup. So now I'm just trying to go through, figure out how it corresponds to this freaking Holley harness, and then hopefully we'll have reverse. Stupid trans brake. So now I'm going to drag race this thing. Alright, it is a little bit darker out. I think it's 11 o'clock right now. And I think I'm going to call it quits. I spent a good bit of this morning trying to figure out the trans brake wiring in this, and there's just too many inconsistencies. I emailed TCI to try and figure out exactly what pins I need for things. You'd think it wouldn't be as complicated as it is. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, but there's a bunch of like, use this wire, this wire, this wire. So when I looked up the Holley pinout and what colors they used to compare it to the stock GM one, the stock GM one doesn't match what TCI says. Like it says to use a red wire. Well, there's not a solid red wire. There's a red and white wire, and there's a red and black wire, things like that. So I emailed TCI. Hopefully I'll hear back from them soon. If not, I'm just going to start cutting and trying things, because the good thing about wiring is you can always splice it back together. So while I was waiting for that, I decided to finally get a little bit more work done on the Fiero. Can you tell? Probably not. I went through and got some of the wiring done on this. This is just a stock, or not a stock, this is just an eBay harness, so things fit kind of weird, so I pulled all the sheathing and stuff off of it and moved stuff to where I needed it, like the TPS and IAT and everything. Those were initially way over here where the actual front of the engine is, so I had to move those, move a couple other things, and I got the harness running through here because I didn't feel like moving this to where it was coming off over there and then shortening all the wires just seemed like a huge pain in the butt, whereas just bringing it here and running it along the frame seems pretty easy. And then I got room for the ECU and the fuse block. Might put the fuse or the ECU over here. Not really sure, but I got plenty of options there. Like these fit. These fit. I can put it up here on an angle, get one of those cool little mounts for it. Good deal. Oh, and I got the new slave cylinder on it. That paint's still wet for that bracket. I wish I didn't touch that. The shift cables. Oh, the shift cables. I checked to make sure that they cleared the opening for the throttle body. I did not think to check if they would hit the throttle lever here, which right now they do a little bit. They hit just enough so that it won't close all the way. It hangs it up like third throttle or so. So might have to do a little bit of modification for that. Not entirely sure yet, but I feel like I made decent progress on it. The rest of the wiring is somewhat simple. Like the fuel pump's already wired up. That's off the stock chassis wiring. And then this stuff here, there's, let's see, all of this is under dash wiring for sensors and gauges and stuff like that. There's the OBD2, there's a chassis ground, and there should be there it is, a loose red wire. That's for the ignition, for when you're cranking it over. That has to have constant 12 volt. So the wiring to get it to run, super simple. Basically, I just need to hook up the 12 volt, hook up the ground. I still need a starter. Fuck. Anyway, if I had a starter, hook up the 12 volt to that red wire, hook up a couple grounds, the main power to the starter and the starter post where this harness gets its power. And then if I had a tune in it, I could crank it over and theoretically fire it up. There's no oil in it or anything right now, so let's not do that. But yeah, that's basically all I would need to fire up. And then we've got the 10 million little things that the car needs, like brakes, brake lines, bleed brakes and bleed the clutch, tune it, which is going to take, I don't know, 7 years to tune these freaking stock ECU deals, figure out the shift cables, come up with a super easy solution for the throttle cable, because that doesn't match up, which I think I can figure something out for that. These GM ones take that little like bar that slides through it. and this stock one has a little eyelet here. So I might be able to, the way they have just crimped on, I might be able to cut that off and then get a barbell and slide it on, solder it on really good. And then, you know, maybe it'll work. And then at that point I just have to make a little throttle cable bracket that bolts to the intake, which I thought I had one when I had this on the RX-7. I don't know where it is though. So, man, I am so burnt out. Holy crap. Ooh, actually, I wonder if I could use the stock throttle cable on the side here. That might work. I don't know if it will work, but it might work. Put it on like that. I'd have to get a little clip to hold it, and then make a bracket down there. But do something like that. And then whap, 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 whap. I don't know how much throw this thing has. Let's see, that's all the way in. That's 2.5 inches. I mean, that's 7 inches. So how far does this thing need to move? That's like that. It would work, I believe. In the car, the throttle pedal wouldn't be able to go all the way down though. But it would work. We might start off with that, and because this was originally used for cruise control, I believe. So we might start off with this. If it lasts forever, awesome, perfect, dream scenario. If it lasts, you know, if it breaks the first time, then we'll try that other thing I was talking about, where we cut this end off and solder the like bar on there. But we're getting there. We're making progress on things slowly. But alright, I think that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. The block for James Brown, just got the call today that it was done being cleaned at the machine shop. And as tempted as I was to have him bore it out, I decided probably shouldn't do that. So tomorrow I'm going to go pick that up, and we'll probably get this engine pulled out, inspect the damage. Hopefully the complete bottom end rotating assembly is good. We can just put a bearing in it, and then we'll get that pulled out, start putting the new motor together for it, and I might have a transmission with a trans brake for it. Buddy of mine, I think I mentioned this a couple videos back, he has a Power Glide with a brake in it that needs a pump, and he wants to put a 400 in his car. Well, I've got a 400 there on the floor that he wants to build, and he said he'd trade me for his Power Glide that needs to be rebuilt. So might do that, and then put a brake in the car finally. So now that's gonna do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for clicking that bell, get the notifications for when the videos go up. I'll see you next time.